If you think karate doesn't work, then you're right, but you're also wrong. Because not all karate is created equal. See, there are three main different kinds of karate. And I'm not talking about karate styles. I'm talking about specific types of karate developed through the history of its evolution. And if you try to compare them to each other, you're going to find out that karate doesn't work. But if you understand the difference between them, karate always works. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean. Keep watching. Let's take it from the beginning. Oh, and by the way, if you're new here, my name's Jesse from karatebyjesse.com, aka the Karate Nerd. And the first thing you need to know is that when karate was developed, the whole purpose behind it was self-defense. To defend yourself against other civilians trying to attack you. Not on the battlefield, not against samurai warriors, and not in a cage, but mano a mano, on the street, at your home, or wherever violence happens in society, okay? And of course, this whole development of original karate happened on a tiny island south of Japan called Okinawa. And if you've watched a lot of my previous videos, you know I've been to Okinawa many times. I even used to live and study there. Meaning, the first kind of karate that you need to know about is original, traditional, self-defense based karate, where there are no real rules. You can elbow somebody in the face, you can knee them in the groin, you can bite their face. And these moves can still be found in karate if you look back in time and try to uncover the layers of kata, these traditional movement patterns that we do that actually consist completely of these types of practical self-defense techniques. And when you apply those moves, we call it bunkai in Japanese. Of course, in today's day and age, many people just practice kata as a physical form of exercise, and that's fine. But if you look beneath the surface, you actually find these practical and functional self-defense techniques that original karate consisted of. Moving on, what happened if you look at the history of karate? Well, it was modernized, which means that the next kind of karate is modern karate, which is based on the type of karate that developed on mainland Japan and not the island of Okinawa. Because at this point in time, there was not a real need for self-protection, but more about self-perfection. Karate started to be used as a vehicle for character development and to cultivate the mind and nurture the spirit and condition the body, rather than actually learning how to defend against somebody in a real-life fight. Meaning, karate became more of a proper martial art, where you look at the holistic picture instead of just learning brutal self-defense techniques. As part of this process, the Japanese Martial Arts Society actually had these rules that karate had to conform to. So we started adopting the karate gi. We started using the belt and rank system and different titles for instructors. And we standardized a lot of techniques. And you know, in this whole process, a lot of the practicality of karate was stripped away, meaning this second kind of karate has a completely different purpose compared to the first kind of karate. And already here, if you start comparing them, you're going to run into trouble, because the techniques developed for the dojo, for the martial art, were not meant to be used on the street against a thug. The third kind of karate is what happened after the modernization of karate in mainland Japan. You see, a competitive aspect started developing as karate spread throughout the universities of Japan, because why? Young people love to compete. And so do Westerners, especially when we beat the Japanese because of our natural big physical size and strength advantage. Which is why the third kind of karate is as a combat sport. And now there are different types of organizations and leagues and rules, of course. I'm not saying that all sports karate is the same, but this is the third kind of karate, where you have a limited set based upon rules. You have a referee, you have a time limit and a safe environment to try your techniques against an equally sized opponent, which of course is completely different to the original purpose of karate. And to top it off, karate is now even an Olympic sport. And of course, This is not the first kind of karate, not the second kind of karate, but this third kind of karate. Which brings me to my ultimate point. There are different kinds of karate. In general, these three big groups. The original self-defense based traditional karate from Okinawa. The modern Japanese style martial arts karate for character development. And the third and last sports type karate, which is even an Olympic sport. And you will always run into trouble if you think that these three are equal. Although they might come from the same tree, they are different fruits, right? And they might all taste delicious, especially for a karate nerd like me. But please don't compare them because they are not the same. That doesn't mean that you can't learn from them all, but you should be aware that the context is different. The goals and the outcomes of these three types of karate is not equal. In other words, karate doesn't work. If you try to force a square peg into a round hole, of course it's not going to work. But also, karate always works if you compare it to what it was supposed to be compared to, itself. The most important thing is not what kind of karate you practice, but that you know what kind you practice. Because none of them is better, they're all just different. And what brings us together is far more important than what sets us apart. Because we're all on that journey to mastery. And as we all know, the journey never ends. Don't you agree? Leave a comment and let me know. Do you think karate works or doesn't work? I'm curious to hear what you think, now that you know what I think.